Hello everyone. For the mission segment, we've collected some stories and reports of ways that we've engaged internationally, regionally, locally, and at the congregational level. We're going to start with Jeanette Hansen, an international witness.
Hi, my name is Jeanette Hansen. I'm the Director of Mennonite Church Canada International Witness. Mennonite Church Manitoba is sharing gifts and building relationships across international borders. Nordheim, Douglas, Home Street, Covenant, and Whitewater walk with church partners in China who are developing Anabaptist resources. Elam, Carmen, and Sargent Avenue help to develop congregational leaders in Thailand through income generation and discipleship training. Charleswood works with Mennonite Church in Bolivia in supporting a daycare program for poor families in Santa Cruz. Morden and Sterling are part of an exciting peace-building ministry in South Korea. Others are giving generously to collaborative work in Burkina Faso and Congo. The Palestine-Israel Network is active in Manitoba and in education and advocacy for peace and justice. This year saw the formalization of a relationship with Bethlehem Bible College. There is also a group that's exploring ways to stand in solidarity and support of the Colombian Mennonite Church and learn about their peace witness in the midst of violence. Contact Mennonite Church Manitoba and check the International Witness website to see how you can get involved. Thank you for giving generously of your time, talent, and financial resources.
1 year ago, Canada was in conflict with the Wet'suwet'en, Native peoples protecting their ancestral lands from those who wanted a pipeline. The Crown, protecting industry, used guns to forcibly remove land defenders, and soon protests broke out everywhere, from Vancouver to PEI. News headlines flashed across Twitter proclaiming reconciliation is dead. We are only 5 years on from the TRC. And is this where we're at? Systemic racism and the violation of Indigenous rights are a reality in Canada. We see this in the healthcare system and in the prisons, in the absence of clean drinking water and ongoing land disputes. But in the darkness, there is life. And our Indigenous Settler Relations Program is a small part of supporting that life. We're linking arms with diverse communities to help keep the dream of reconciliation alive. With ecumenical partners, we're supporting Bill C-15, legislation that will harmonize the laws of Canada with the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. With the Evangelical Fellowship of Canada, we're creating a set of Indigenous-led working groups that'll help churches embody key calls to action. With Christian peacemaker teams, we're supporting land-back struggles like the Haudenosaunee movement in Caledonia. With regional churches, we're stoking courageous webinar conversations on everything from treaties to prairie racism. And finally, we are remembering the covenants our Mennonite Church has made to Indigenous justice, promises that stretch back 50 years that can breathe life into this collective project we call reconciliation. May it be.
Thank you, Jeanette and Steve. When it comes to mission, we sometimes conceptualize it in terms of our engagement with people next door and around the world. That's a rather grand, sweeping statement, but it's also a unifying one, especially when Christ is kept at the center. Christ can be found in the call to reconciliation between Indigenous and settler people, and we are blessed for the work that's being done in Indigenous and Mennonite communities and through Mennonite Church Canada's Indigenous Settler Relations. We are also blessed and grateful for all those who are engaged in international witness and the networks that connect congregations here to congregations around the world. We are enriched by a wise and Holy Spirit who calls us to unity and love through simple principles and practices like act justly, love mercy, walk humbly with God and others. Simple wisdoms like these, as ancient as they are, still speak profound truth into our world, our neighborhoods, and communities today. So it's with this in mind that I'd like to, this year, organize an online workshop, likely in the spring, where we can share and hear stories about Christ at work in our lives and in the communities around us, all in the hope of encouraging and inspiring each other, aligning with Christ's call and vision to love and serve our neighbors. So stay tuned for further announcements on this. If you would like to be involved in the planning of this event, or if you have a story to share, please let me know. I'd also like to mention that Mennonite Church Manitoba and MCC Manitoba will be partnering to co-facilitate a regional working group whose core mandate is to invite Mennonites into the spiritual and practical work of Indigenous settler relations and the call to reconciliation, to respond to invitations from the Indigenous community to partner in events and projects, to be a resource to our congregations and a safe place for lodging Mennonite Indigenous conversation and engagement, and to add collective strength and accountability to the work of our institutions, MCM, MCCM, MC Canada, through discernment, guidance, and momentum building. We've named this group the Mennonite Indigenous Solidarity Group of Manitoba. We have not yet invited people to join the committee, so if you would like to recommend somebody from your congregation, or if you yourself are interested, please let me know, and I will give you more details. We're going to close out our mission segment with a video from Morden Mennonite Church, who recently opened their doors to an organization that runs a food pantry, but was in need of a central location to run their program from. So thank you, Morden Mennonite, for sharing your story.
Morden Mennonite's involvement with the Hub. It's a type of grassroots connection that our church needs to make with its community.
In late fall of 2019, Morden Mennonite Church began conversations with the local food bank called The Hub. They had moved location several times in previous years, and they were seeking a permanent home. We, as Morden Mennonite Church, were recognizing that our building was more than we needed with our smaller congregation. We began to dream about using our building space to support a community need. Something exactly like The Hub.
It's not just about the food. It's about building relationships, whether it's at the first initial visit or it's 5 years down the road. It's about getting to know people and believing in who they are, not what people expect of them.
These conversations went very well, and we anticipated the Hub moving into the church building by late spring of 2020. But then COVID hit. Suddenly, the Hub found themselves without a home, unable to use the space they were in because of restrictions last March. So we worked together with them to expedite our new relationship, and within a few weeks, their small army of volunteers was operating out of our otherwise unused fellowship hall. Since then, our church community has been able to be involved. Our youth group has helped out with bagging vegetables for their fresh produce program. Our seniors and others have helped out with bagging flour and sugar and other dry goods for their weekly hampers. Well over 1,000 hampers have been given out during these difficult times.
Being able to give us a space to do this has been so important to us. We felt it's such a needed cause to support, and we've struggled with having a place to do that until now.
We don't know how long this partnership will last, but we suspect the effects of this venture will continue on for a long time, shaping the very identity of Morden Mennonite Church. At least, that's what we're praying for.